2 weeks. What that means is for first 2 weeks it would be 6:30. After that it will change to 7:30. This is the course plan. All right, and it's 1.5 hours per day. For first 2 weeks it would be 1 hour per day, and that is when we will be covering the prerequisites training. Actually, there are few things that you need to know before you begin this training. Those there, some of you may not be very good in Linux, and some of you are from a different background. So you need to take this prerequisites training that will take 2 weeks. That would include some Linux basics training. It's all about getting started with Linux. And then you have Linux administration training. It's all about some software basics. What is a software? What is a web application? And what are the different components of a software? How they will communicate to a database and how we can run them or deploy them on a Linux environment. We will be taking some sample PHP and Java applications. So that's what the Linux administration training is all about. And after that, we will move on to networking training. That's all about taking care of the network, how the machine communicate each other inside a local network, what are the different components of a network and how the internet works. There are few things that you need to know before we begin the whole training. So that's what our first 2 weeks will look like, and the classes would be at 6:30 a.m. IST. Later, after 2 weeks, after we completed the prerequisites, we will start with our DevOps training, and that timing will be 7:30, 1.5 hours per day, and it would be permanent classes. So, majorly we are covering DevOps and AWS, right? We cover DevOps as well as AWS in this training. AWS we do as a single project training. It would take 2 to 3 weeks. We will learn a number of AWS services, and we will these software applications which we learned, some sample PHP and Java applications that we learned, we will design one infrastructure in the cloud where we will run these applications. That's the plan. That's what your project will look like in AWS. In DevOps, we have three courses. Actually, the whole DevOps program is split into three courses. One is called CI/CD integration or CI/CD automation, and then the configuration management and containerization. So these are the three topics, three courses that we are covering within DevOps. And each of this course would take 2 weeks. This might take 2 to 3 weeks. The remaining topics would take 2 weeks, and each topic come along with one project, right? After each of this training, you need to complete one project, and the project is all about. I would be sharing a Word document with you about the scenarios of the project. So you would go through the document, understand what are the problem the company is facing, and you will propose a solution, and I will approve it or I will give you the recommendations on that. Then based on that, you will implement the solution, right? Basically to solve a lot of problem the companies are facing right now. That's what the whole concept of DevOps is, and that's what you do throughout this project, right? They are very, very important, right? The most important part in our training are the projects. Okay, so Kishore, can you mute yourself? You are unmute. Kishore, please mute yourself. Thank you. Hi Arun, good morning. Okay, so apart from DevOps and AWS training, we are also covering scripting. We are covering shell scripting and Python programming. And these topics we will be covering in a weekend. Make a note. Both shell scripting and Python programming. We are covering them in detail, but we will be covering them in a weekend, not on weekdays, in order to save the time. We have total 90 hours of training, and we have to finish this training in 2.5 months. That is the plan. So due to this reason, the scripting classes alone we will be conducting in a weekend. the timing when it's going to be, I will announce it earlier so that you can plan accordingly. And so hardly you will have some maybe total 4 weekend classes, 3 hours each to complete the scripting training. That's it. That is the only weekend class you are going to have. Otherwise, it would be always weekday. Shell scripting we are covering in detail, and Python we are actually covering. It's a intermediate level training. We are not focusing too much on the basics, but what are relevant to a DevOps engineer. That's what we are focusing on when we learn Python. So that is the whole course overview. That's what we are planning in this training. Right. So if I these are the prerequisites, like I said, which you need to know before we begin the training. Very, very important. I mean, don't just consider them as a prerequisites. They are part of the training. Whatever project that we are doing throughout our training, or whatever assignment or whatever scenarios that you are going to see throughout this training, and you will find a lot of use cases from these prerequisites training, and that is the whole reason we are covering this, right? Without some basic understanding about software and Linux administration and networking basics, you won't understand the actual concept, right? When I explain some project to you, right? You need to understand the scenario in a company. You should be able to compare it. So without this prerequisites knowledge, it would be very tough, right? You won't be able to visualize things without the prerequisites knowledge. So that's why this is very, very important. And those who are new to Linux, the Linux basic sessions, the first 2 days, we would be completely focusing on getting started with Linux, right? We will run a lot of Linux command. We will learn how to create usages in Linux, create groups in Linux, give permission to the people, right? Some basic operating system stuff we will learn on Linux in the first couple of days. After that only, we will move on to the real prerequisites training. That's the whole plan. And once we completed with the prerequisites of 2 weeks, we will begin with DevOps training. That's the first training we are going to have. And build and release, or it's also called the CI/CD pipeline project. And these are the topics we are covering within that training. It will take 2 to 3 weeks, not 3 weeks. We will try to complete within 2.5. I mean, we have a lot of tools to learn for this particular course. Git, GitHub, and Maven, Jenkins. We are also covering Nexus. So these many tools we are covering in depth. And after covering the tools, you will have one project. I would give you some scenario based project about some problems the company is facing right now and how the project look like right now. So you need to look at this project, understand the concept, and propose some solutions on a high level. Then I will approve it, or I will give you recommendations. Based on that, you will implement your solution. Very, very important project. This is one of the most reason why DevOps came into picture today, right? DevOps took a lot of time for evolving itself to the right track. I don't know whether it is still in the right track, but it's improving on a very progressive way, right? So I will tell you what is build and release process, or CI/CD, is all about. So this is all about a software company, right? Who has a software and they want to manage that particular software. They want to keep on adding more features to the software. They want to fix some existing problems in the software. So that's what companies do. That's what every software product company, that's what they do. They have a software and their customers are using that software, and they want to improve the customer experience by adding more and more features, and also at the same time they need to compete with the other people in the market. So they keep on adding more and more new features into their software product so that the customers are going to love it. And also, whenever the developer add more features to the software, that can result in lot of problems, right? Sometimes think about Flipkart company have decided that they will add a new payment option, beam UPI. So the customer can make payment using beam UPI. They can provide their UPI ID. Then they will get an SMS asking, right, putting them to make the payment through their phone. They make the payment and their order is confirmed. So something like that. Flipkart decided that they will put this new feature in their website. So a developer would do the coding, right? It would be the developer who do the coding in order to implement the changes in the software. I want to call them changes, right? Any change to the existing software. So in this particular case, you want to add a new feature into the software. So while the developer is working on it, there is a good amount of chance that he is adding more problems to the system, right? He is working on a code which is already stable. So when he work on the code, it can become unstable. Maybe by mistake he will break something, or he will break the credit card system, or maybe he will make small mistakes while writing the code. That can result in a huge problem when it go to the market, right? When the software product go to the market, people try to make the payment using Beam UPI. Instead of charging them 1,000 rupees, think about the Beam UPI is charging them 1,500, right? So this could be a very small mistake done by the developer, and but unfortunately the problem is not detected, and your customers are having a very bad experience. So whenever a new change need to be implemented in any software, it is a potential risk. You are potentially adding a lot of risk to the system. You are in fact introducing a new problems in the system, or I would generally call them bugs. And these issues also need to be continuously fixed, right? You got a complaint from customer saying that instead of 1,000 rupees he was charged 1,500. So you got the feedback from the customer, then you want to again fix that particular problem, right? Again go back to the code, fix the problem and deliver the code. So, and this is what the software companies do. They keep on making modification to their software, and this is called changes. So every company must have a proper strategy within their team, right? Within their teams, there are different teams in every company. There would be a team of marketing guys who are the one who might listen to customer feedback. Based on the customer feedback, they will decide what are the new feature to be implemented in the application. For example, companies such as Uber, right? They might need some option, right? The customer requesting some option that they can send a chat message to the driver through voice rather than calling him. Then it's the marketing team who detected that okay, this is a new feature and it's a good feature. If it is implemented, it's going to improve customer experience. Then the marketing team will ask the developer to do this change in the software. Then the developer would start working on the software. They will make the code modification. So there is a development team in every company. They are the ones who do the coding and develop the software. And earlier the software was believed to be a work of developers, and that is not the case anymore, right? It's the developer who do the coding and create software, right? That is the a general concept people all had in mind, right? Maybe a 10-year back, but not anymore. So it's not the development team. What I'm trying to say is it is not only the development team who take part in change management. When a software need to be changed, developer do the code modification. Then there are many things, right? Once the developer modified the code, there are many things the code need to undergo. The code need to undergo a lot of testing. So generally there would be a separate team who will do a lot of testing on the code modification the developer have done. The testing team will make sure that whatever code the developer have written, it's working fine. If it is not working, they will give feedback to the development team, right? And sometimes they need time because they might not have proper machines there where they want to run the testing, so they need to ask the developer to wait for some time so that they can do the testing. And there would be a lot of change coming from different developer, everything need to be tested. And when a new developer introduce a new code in the system, the testing team also want to make sure that it did not break any existing system, right? There are many kind of testing the testing team want to run, so they will run a detailed test and they will give feedback to the development team. And sometimes they have a lot of huge responsibility. It can take some time for the developers to get these feedback, right? Because the testing should be proper and they need their time to finish the testing. And then in every company there would be an operational team. They are the ones who takes care of the infrastructure. I don't know whether I can you guys are ready to talk about the infrastructure, but the infrastructure is nothing but consider them a set of machines serving your software to your customers, right? There would be customers who want to see your software. Flipkart.com is a software the customers of Flipkart see. They can browse it, they can book items, they can order items, right? So Flipkart.com is actually, I would call it a production software, a software which is in the market. Do you agree with me, right? Because it's a live website. The customers of Flipkart is already using you and me. But serve that website to the people, right? And to offer a lot of features the website is serving. To run that software, Flipkart company need a lot of machines, right? This software is spread across a number of machines. And these machines are very important for a company, right? These are the machines serving their software to their customers. So taking care of these machines, taking care of communication between different software components, making sure that the software components are up and running and they are doing their job correctly, and the machines are not getting overloaded, right? Sometimes you need too many machines because you are getting too much traffic on your software. Think about the Flipkart big billion day. So there are many things a company need to take care from their infrastructure point of view. Taking care of the machines, adding more machines when required, removing machines when not required, right? Making sure that every team, the testing team, the development team, then the customers, everyone can see your software and do some testing also. Sometimes the testing team do not want testing on Flipkart.com, which is a live software. So what the operation team might want to do is they will set up one infrastructure for the testing team that contains a number of machines. Then the testing team can run their testing on that particular infrastructure rather than running it in the production software, which will make sure that your customers are not affected when your testing team want to do some testing. Right, so it's the operation team's responsibility to manage the machines which are in production, which are used by the testing team for testing, which are used by the development team for testing. So it's a huge responsibility that operation teams takes care. And believe me, they are the ones who will get the who will get the heat if there is something wrong, right? Sometimes there was some problem while the developer worked on the code, but the problem went unnoticed. During the testing you could not detect the problem, but when you released your software to the market, that means when you added the feature into the live flipkart.com website, I'm telling flipkart.com as a reference, I hope you understand that. At that point of time you started getting complaint from the customer saying that something is broken, something is not working. And in such situations it is the operation team who will get the heat, right? They are the ones who will be contacted first, and it's their responsibility to make sure that the machines are up and running and they are doing their job. So like that, there are different teams. There are other teams also in the company, right? Some project management teams. There are many teams in the company, and all these teams has their own strategies, right? And they have their own requirement, and they have their own concerns. For the development team or for the marketing team, their main concern is they should deliver the work as soon as possible. Development team do the coding. They will deliver their code change to the respective team. They will give the code to the testing team for testing. And finally, operation team will take the code and release the code into production, into the market. So development team want to make sure that whatever work they have completed, they want to make sure that the completed work is tested properly and it is available to the customers, right? In other words, you brought the work of developer into the market, which is the work of operation team, right? And they expect quick feedback from the testing team, right? Because they are doing a lot of changes. Development team, there are many people working on the team. All of them work on different change requests coming from different stakeholders. So one developer Tom, he is working on adding a new feature to the software. Another developer Jerry, who is working on uh, fixing some existing problem. Some people are not able to log in, so he is trying to fix the problem. So like that, different developer work on different thing. They will complete their work, or in other words, they will do the coding and they will deliver their code into some system where the testing team can start doing their testing. And when the testing team do the testing, developer expect a quick feedback from the testing team because they need it, right? Think about Tom made some code change, and unfortunately, he broke the credit card system while he was adding a Paytm payment option in the code, and he didn't realize that until the testing team gave him the feedback saying that the credit card system is not working. So what if he's getting the feedback after 1 week or 2 weeks from the testing team? Because sometimes testing team might not be available. Sometimes they need time for testing because there are many change developers are making. So can this guy who made this code change even remember the problem was due to his code change? No. If he get the feedback after 1 week or 2 weeks, I mean, he have no idea where this credit card problem come from. That's the thing. But if he had got feedback within 5 or 10 minutes, he can easily fix the problem. So these are actually some problems the companies are facing right now. And it was worse about some 10 years back. And that is when a movement have started, which eventually right, brought in a lot of practices, which resulted in the evolution of DevOps, right? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is every team has their own concerns and they conflict each other. For the testing team, their main concern is making sure that the testing is proper. They don't really care much about the time or feedback because they don't know the concerns of developers. For them, their main concern is the testing should be proper and complete, which takes its time, right? And again, the operation team, every team need help of operation team. Sometimes the development team want to test something and the operation team need to set up some machines or set up the infrastructure for the development team, but the people are not available in the operation team who can make the changes, who can give the infrastructure to the developers. So these problems are majorly few problems the companies are facing, and even the operation team, they want to make sure that their software is up and running to the customers. So they will sometimes they will stop the development team to do a release. They will tell them we have some campaign running on our website for this whole week and we are expecting a lot of sales also, so let's not do any release. What that means is whatever work done by a developer need to stay for some time, until we complete this particular campaign, right? So for the operation team, their main concern is the production machines are up and running. Any change that can happen to these production machines or this infrastructure can actually break the production machine or your production software, which is not good. So they will stop the development team from doing a deployment. I call the deployment. What deployment means is whatever work done by a developer, you will bring it to the market, or in other words, you will install them on a production machines that are serving the software to your customers. That's what I mean by deployment process. So due to these reasons, the deployment process is very slow. So these are problems the companies have been facing a lot. And it was getting more worsened up, right? Think about this. The software is getting more and more complex. You add more features to a software. Actually, the software is getting more and more complex. Maybe the code of any a company software would have doubled in the last 2 years, right? Think about how Flipkart is looking like today and how it was looking like 2 years back. A lot of new features, a lot of new changes that came into the software, basically making the software more and more complex, and these problems will ever increase, right? It's more like a, it would more like a graph that will always have a positive slope, right? About the problems, they keep on increasing as the software get more and more complex. So people needed a better way to manage the software, right? The companies started talking to each other, right? Wanted to realize how they take care of the system, and then eventually a new culture have been developed, and that's what the CI/CD is all about. It's all about taking care of your software changes in a rather automated way, where there are no dependencies between the team too much, right? There are no manual dependencies between the team. For example, when a developer want to do some testing, right? They completed their code and they want to run their code in a infrastructure. They don't need to ask the operation team to build an infrastructure for them. Instead, think about they click on a button. Within few minutes, one infrastructure become ready, which will run the software whatever the developer have developed, and then they can start testing over there. And when they are done with their testing, probably they will click on another button. What happens is the entire infrastructure get terminated because developers does not need that anymore. They are done with their job. Or you want to test your software, developer completed some code change, and this code change need to be tested by the testing team. Rather, what happens is as soon as the developer completed the code change, an automated testing process would start, which would run, which would do a lot of things, right? It will, the code need to get compiled, then code need to get tested for the new functionality which the developer have added. Then you want to create some executable file out of the code, run the executable file on some machines, making sure that the machines are tested and make sure that these executable files are working fine. Then arrange the executable files in a such a way that which ones are stable, which ones are not stable, you will decide that. And then you want to run these executable files throughout multiple machines, do a lot of testing, and finally you want to go to the market with these executable files. So just believe me, there are many things the code need to undergo before it can get verified. So what we do is we will build a automated pipeline which will verify everything, which will do the whole process in a single automated line. And whenever a developer makes some code change, the process would start. So I'll give you one example. Assume this is a Java based application that your company have, and you are making some code change. a developer makes some code change, and he will deliver the code change to a system, and this system will immediately notify a different system. Just assume, and you will take the code from that system. You compile the code, you will do some testing, generate some report. The report would be automatically verified. Then the code would be converted into some executable form. You will run these executable files inside some machines for the initial testing. Then save the executable files which are verified in a repository, and then run these executable files inside more machines, right? Do a lot of automation testing, generate a lot of reports about the problems, then verify these reports, and think about this. All these things happens in a completely automated way. Then you don't have too much dependency between the team, right? This would include the work of developer, it would include the work of a testing team, even the work of an operation team are put together inside a single automated pipeline. Think about that. Developer makes some code change, he will deliver his code change, and an automated process will run which will verify the code change done by the development team. He will get feedback within minutes, right? Think about Tom made some code change in the Beam UPI, and he broke the credit card system, and he got an email saying that, right, an automated email from the system saying that the credit card system is not working. He know that it was his change which broke the credit card system. So he got started, right? I mean, he got some idea where the problem could have come from. So this would improve the feedback that will go to the developers. This will improve the work of operation team to manage the machines or install software in the machines in a better way. So there are many things. It would basically improve the whole life of the software through these practices, and to build these practices within the team. That's what the role of a DevOps engineer, and that's what you do. You don't do any coding, right? That's not your job. That is the work of development teams. So you do use a lot of tools to build an automated system that can handle your change management. That's what it's all about. DevOps is all about, and it's a very interesting. Believe me, it's one of the most interesting jobs. It's all about building a culture within your team where you are not too much dependent on the people. You are just dependent on the automated system that can do everything for you. So, and you keep on adding more things to the automated. You find that some testing team, they are doing a lot of testing themselves. You tell them, I mean, this is not something that you should be doing. You should focus on writing the test suite, right? They might have other work they want to generate. They want to decide which are the tests that need to be run. Then based on that, they want to automate those tests. So there are many work that they have to do. So you ask them, you focus on your job. Running the test is not your job. The it is the job of this automated system. Or you tell development team, right? You should not be the one who would be compiling the code and doing the initial testing. Leave that to the system. You do your code change, deliver the code change to the system, then you just relax, right? Or move to the other work. Don't worry about the changes that you have done. An automated system will verify your change. If there is a problem, you will get a feedback email, and at that point only you need to worry. Otherwise you don't need to worry. So it's all about improving the culture and the delivery practices of your team. That's what you do by doing a lot of automation, and automation is the key, right? So we are going to learn a lot of tools here, which would and we will take some sample project. We will take some sample PHP and Java projects, the projects that we learned, right? That's why I said initially we have some prerequisites training. And I know I have been little technical while explaining these things, but don't worry, it would get clear, right? Once we started with the prerequisites and you have some understanding about the software and their components, it will improve, right? You will get a clear idea about it. So for now, don't just forget about the technical terms which I used, but just understand a overall concept of DevOps, CI/CD practices, right? Okay, and it's a very satisfying job as well, right? It's a very satisfying job, and it's a very highly paid job also, and a lot of advantages. It's you there is no shift, right? You and the timing is very flexible, especially in India. In startup companies, the DevOps teams work at their convenience, at their own time, or I mean there is no restriction when you can work, or you should work for 8 hours. This is not the culture in a DevOps team. It's a lot, it's completely different, right? Okay, so that's what our CI/CD training is all about. These are the tools we are covering. And at the end, you will have one project that you need to complete. And then we have another course, again a 2 weeks training, where we are covering Ansible and Nagios. Ansible is the config management tool that we are covering. It will take nearly 10 classes. Chef and Puppet we are not covering. Chef and Puppet, we will just have an introduction and a high level introduction and comparison with Ansible. All three tools do the same job, Ansible, Chef, and Puppet. They all do the same job, but Ansible is the new tool in the market, and most of the companies are migrating to Ansible, either migrating to Ansible or using Ansible for the new project that they are starting. So, due to many reasons, Ansible has a lot of advantages. That's why it would be Ansible that we are covering. Chef and Puppet, we are not covering Make and Out. Nagios, we are covering in detail. It's a monitoring tool. Again, it's a 2 weeks training. This is all about taking care of your infrastructure, right? I told you, as a company, you need to maintain one infrastructure where you want to run your software. It would contain a lot of machines, Windows machines or Linux machines or whatever. There would be a lot of machines that run your software and serving your software to the people, right? So just drawing something, right? Think about Flipkart infrastructure. A number of machine would be running the front page of the Flipkart. A number of machines would be taking care of the payments which the customers are doing. Some machines take care of the prime customers of Flipkart. So like that, there are different software components which Flipkart would have developed, and different software components are spread across different machines in Flipkart infrastructure. You browse for Flipkart.com website. Maybe this is the machine which would give you the front page of Flipkart.com on your browser. Then you try to log in. Maybe this machine communicate to the other machine. Verify that you entered the correct mail ID and password. Then you try to order some item to the shopping cart. Then this machine will communicate to the other machines, which is running some software component that takes care of the shopping cart. Then shopping cart get created, and when you try to make payment, probably a different software component running on a different machine is taking care of the pay. So what I'm trying to say is the infrastructure means it's a hell lot of machines that you want to maintain in order to manage your infrastructure. I'm talking about hundreds of machines. Think about a software such as flipkart.com, right? How many people would be using it, and how many machines would you need? Hundreds of them or thousands of them. So the operation team cannot manage these machines manually, right? They cannot even remember the name of these machines. That's not something they can do. So there should be a proper approach to maintain these machines. It should not be maintained by a human, it should be maintained by a config management tool such as Ansible, which will make sure that a particular software component is running correctly on this machine, and every machines are getting the right software component as an so Ansible know about your infrastructure, how many machines you need, what are the roles of each and every machines, what are the software to be installed in each and every machines, right? What are the services to be running inside those machines, what are the files to be present in those machines. So Ansible know everything. and Ansible will apply what it know on these machines. Ansible will make sure that the machines contains what it's supposed to contain. So it's kind of you write some code in Ansible which will maintain your infrastructure. That's what Ansible is. It's a config management tool. Again, something we are going to discuss. It's a detailed training. And I will just give you more idea about this tomorrow, right? Tomorrow also we have a demo in case if you want to join tomorrow's demo, you will get a more clear idea about this, right? Today we don't have too much time on that. And after the config management, we have containers training where we are covering Docker and Kubernetes. They are all about the most important training in our course curriculum. Make a note. Every company today, they are either already using Docker and Kubernetes. If not, they will start using it within some time. It's getting mandatory. So this is all about, in the earlier example I mentioned about, in one machine you will run the shopping cart component. In another machine you will run the payment component. In another machine you will run a different software component. So like that. This is how it used to be, but so you give a lot of precedence to the machines, right? This could be a Linux machine that would be running the front page of your website. Another Linux machines taking care of the shopping cart component of your website. Like that, different machines in your infrastructure running different software component. That's what it used to be. And Docker and Kubernetes has changed the way how your software should be orchestrated across the machines. It's not one component in one machine. It should be one component in a container, and you can have a lot of containers running in the same machine. Very lightweight containers that can run your application, and you get the same level of isolation between the containers as you get from the machines. So something like that, a very new culture or a very new way of implementation in infrastructure in the development practices also. So that's what containers and orchestration is all about. Again, it's a 2 weeks training. Come along with one project, and at the end, we will be completing Amazon Web Services, cloud computing. We are covering EC2, Elastic Cloud Balances, auto scaling, VPC, Route 53, S3, IAM, right? These are RDS, SES, CloudWatch, CloudFront, CLI tools, some automation in AWS. So these are the main things we are covering. It's a 3 week, 2 to 3 weeks training, which also come along with one project. So we have total 4 projects covered in the training. The projects are very important. Make a note. They are they are absolutely very important. And what I also want you to do is everyday classes I will be recording, and you will get access to the recorded video, right? Everyday class I am recording for throughout this training, and you will get access to the recorded video. It would be saved in a Google Drive to which you will get access to. And also there is a training portal. It's called trainingdoor.info. You will get access to this portal also. Once you logged in, you can manage your course, right? Once you log in. So this is a batch which I completed November 28 DevOps. If you log into that your course, then you will be able to download the course materials, chat with me, or see your assignment, submit your assignment, see your grades. Everything can be done from here, right? If you have any doubts or questions, you can put here. You can put here, and you want to chat with me. There's a chat option over there. And if you have any article that you want to share with others, or you want to read others article, this is where you can go. The Linux basics or whatever topics we are covering, I will be uploading them here. You can see the Linux basics with course materials, assignments over here. The Linux administration training, you can see course materials, assignment. You can download them, and also some link which I want you to read. I would be uploading them here under each sessions. So these are the things that you can find and manage from the course online itself. And this is a permanent access you will get. Even after completing the course, you will continue to get access to this portal. So you can continue to work on this portal, submit your assignment, finish your project, get my help. I'll be always available from 9 to 11, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I will be available. So at that time, if you chat with me, you will get a quick response. And even I sit in, if somebody want to come down here, we can discuss that also. So there are these many options are available. And what I will do is I will create your course. Your course would be named as, that's what I'm going to do now. Give me 1 second. All right, we are going to start a new course. So once the course is created, you need to sign up at this website. I will Let me create the course first. It's a new course under this category. So your course name is, right, for your batch, this is going to be the name Feb 14, Feb 14, 2009 DevOps. This is your course name. Yeah, of course, it start on 14th of Feb. Same time, 6:30 a.m. Show it. Give some ID 14. So what I want you to do is go to this website training.info. Yeah, if you go to the website training.info now, you will be able to see the new course. So go to training.info, click on DevOps and AWS complete training. Over there you can find Feb 14, 2019 DevOps. I'll paste the website name in the chat. Basically, this is what I would be using for all communicate. If I want to write you an email, even if you don't get access yet, when I want to communicate to you, this is I will be sending message from here. So go to this website, click on DevOps and AWS complete training. Then again click on Feb 14, 2019. Then you will be able to see an option to register yourself to the website, or you can log in with your existing Gmail ID. That's also fine. So once you logged in, you will get an email confirmation. You need to click on the link to confirm your email. After that, once you logged in, you will see an option to enroll yourself to the training. So for me, the option I will not get it. Once you signed in, you will be able to see an option, select your Feb 14 batch, then enroll yourself. Click on enroll me button to enroll yourself to the training. So do that now. I want you to do it now because in case if I have to send you a message from that place only, I'll be sending that. So please go ahead and sign up. And any doubts or question you can ask me there, or right, that is the course portal we will maintain for everything, or course access, materials downloads, assignments, projects. Okay, so that's pretty much I want to discuss today. And tomorrow and after tomorrow also there are some demo classes if you guys want to join. Again, the first 20 minutes would be all about introduction, and the course plan, course topic list and stuff. So after that only we would be discussing something. We have demo classes for 2 more days. After that, on Thursday, we will start with the actual classes. That's when the first class will be. Okay. So any questions? Anyone? Ajay, Arun, Binoy, Hassan, Suman, Krishna, Karthik, Kishore, Mohammed, anyone? Any question?
So, Basil, how many days the training will complete? Like 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
How many days the course will taking time?
I cannot hear you actually. Your voice is
Hello,
very low.
can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, I'm asking about how many days it will take the oral course.
2.5 months.
2.5 months. Okay.
It will take 2.5 months. It would be always Monday to Friday, 1.5 hours per day, and with some weekend classes, nearly some 12 hours of weekend classes also.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow we will continue, and yeah, if you if there is any problem you want to skip something, it's okay. I can send you the recorded sessions of tomorrow. Thursday is when we are starting the first class. Right. Make sure that you are joining on Thursday. That's when the first class will be. Same time.
This class is covering the same thing what we have done today, or
Yeah, same time. Same time. Correct.
not the thing. I'm asking about tomorrow's demo is also covering the same thing what we are gone today.
First 20 minutes it would be repetition. After that, I would be discussing about the config management. So the
Oh,
second topic today we discussed about continuous integration in detail.
mhm.
Continuous integration we discussed, and tomorrow we will be discussing about the config management. So it's
Okay,
different topic that we are covering tomorrow.
okay, okay, fine.
Okay, cool then. So you can join little later, maybe by some 20 minutes later you can join, because till then it would be repetitive. And please sign up here at training door, enroll yourself to Feb 14 batch. Do it now so that my messages will reach to you. Okay, even if you get access or not, just enroll yourself. Thank you guys, and we will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a demo. Thursday would be the first class. Same time, same link.